and welcome to Newsfeed, your daily dose of what people are talking about online, from news stories to what's trending. For Elon Musk, X doesn't only mark the spot, it's everything. Despite the haphazard look of its rebranding, X, Musk's everything app, has long been in motion. The billionaire has been dropping hints of how he wanted to turn what was then Twitter into a WeChat-like platform even before his takeover bid.
If you're in China, it's basically, you kind of live on WeChat. It does everything. It's sort of like Twitter plus PayPal plus a whole bunch of other things, and all roll into one with actually a great interface. And it's really an excellent app. Now this does not need to be done on Twitter. It could be done from something that's created from scratch. So it could be something new. So really, but I think this thing needs to exist, whether it is converting Twitter to be the sort of like kind of all-encompassing app that, like I said, everything from digital town square where important ideas are debated, maximally trusted and inclusive, and at a point where you sort of have a high trust situation, then payments, whether it's crypto or fiat, can make a lot of sense. We just want something that's incredibly useful and that people love using.
Twitter was already something people loved using, but the app's new version, probably not as much, unless you're one of the lucky few that gets to be part of its ad revenue sharing program. For the rest of us, though, this is becoming more of a headache, sometimes literally.
Imagine this shining into your bedroom window at night. Well, that's what some San Francisco residents had to deal with after Elon Musk installed a giant X sign on top of Twitter's headquarters. The massive flashing X sign even caught the attention of city officials, who opened an investigation into the structure. The city's complaint stated that Twitter put up a sign without obtaining a permit. They also said that city officials visited Twitter's headquarters, but Twitter wouldn't let them access the sign, which it said was only for a temporary event. Well, it turns out that Twitter's new sign may have been temporary after all. It was spotted taking it down just days after it put it up. Either way, this marks just another example of how Elon Musk might not be thinking things through all the time.
Where do we go from here? The site changed character and duration limits on posts for verified users a while ago, preparing itself to be a competitor for other sites, even YouTube. With a payment integration on the way, what stops it from introducing a store or a taxi service? Whether people would choose X over already established apps on the market for those services is another question, though. While Musk is gambling with a super app, he may end up destroying the one he has. All in all, the case of Twitter is a vivid example of how the internet, as we know it, is deconstructing itself. Soon, we may even come to ditch the idea of social networking altogether, because honestly, who wants their bank to have access to their trash posts? What would a red carpet be without A-listers? Who would watch a primetime awards show without the stars? Well, it looks like the Hollywood actors and writers' strikes have put paid to this year's Emmys, for the time being anyhow. The 75th Emmys scheduled for September 18th have been put on hold, probably until next January. It's the first time the awards have been postponed since 2001 in the wake of 9/11. This year's nominations, announced in early July, were dominated by HBO, with the most overall selections thanks to Succession, House of the Dragon, The Last of Us, and The White Lotus. Hollywood actors went on strike in mid-July, demanding better pay, fairer working conditions, and protections from AI technology. They joined the Writers Guild of America, who staged a walkout in May for broadly the same reasons. The strikes haven't meant the creators and actors have completely stopped making content. In fact, the millions of amateur and professional creators on YouTube, TikTok, etc., the chefs, musicians, comedians, and so on, well, they've attracted studios and producers looking to fill the void created by the strike. And increasingly, striking actors and writers are finding alternative outlets for their creative juices. Several actors have said their social media accounts are a way to pay the rent now. Traditional work is on hold. Take Paul Scheer, for example, who appeared in The League and Veep. He's recently cranked up on his output on Friend Zone, a Twitch channel he established in 2020. Brian Morabito is another actor who has built a following of 600,000 on TikTok with his comedy videos. He even sells his own merch.
Someone asks you how you've been, you don't have to list your resume. They're just making small talk so you two don't have to stand in silence.
Wait, what should I do instead?
Share something you've actually been thinking about, like how lasagna is Italian cake?
I would be so scared if a woman popped out of a lasagna.
And before the strikes bring about a content vacuum, one movie is killing it right now. The Barbie film's record box office run has danced into its second week. The Greta Gerwig-directed film has now earned almost $775 million worldwide just 12 days after its release, making it one of the highest-grossing movies of the year. In its debut weekend, Barbie also shattered box office records for a film directed by a woman.
Hi, Barbie!
Hi, Ken. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie!
Hi, Ken.
Amid the frenzy, Barbie is turning out to not only be a one-weekend phenomenon, but an ongoing box office bonanza. Analysts say the film has helped jumpstart the cinema industry trying to regain its pre-pandemic footing. Barbie is not only gaining new fans at the box office, but also attracting a lot of repeat moviegoers. And that's music to toy maker Mattel's ears. The Barbie manufacturer has big silver screen plans. Think something to rival Marvel's cinematic universe.
Since Barbie has been an absolute home run smash hit, Mattel wants to create tons and tons of Barbie sequels. They're doing the capitalist franchise thing again. To quote Mattel, they're saying it's a very rich universe. It's a very broad and very elastic brand in terms of opportunities. I would agree, but I recently saw the projects Mattel wants to produce with their products. It's grim. The upcoming live-action Mattel movies they have in store. Get ready. Uno, which better be a horror movie. Barney, which apparently is going to star Daniel Kaluuya, or I think he's directing one of those. Wishbone, Matchbox, Hot Wheels, which we just recently learned J.J. Abrams is going to be directing, and he said it's going to be a heartfelt, emotional story. What? Magic 8 Ball, another one that just better be a horror movie. Polly Pocket. Polly Pocket. Yeah, they're already planning for Lily Collins to star in it because, yeah.
Of course, a lot of trolling online. Here's a meme of a Magic 8 Ball audition tape. Some of these Mattel films in development are pretty hard to visualize. Uno as a movie, how would that work? Or Hot Wheels, will that turn out to be a success as Barbie has been, or a huge disappointing CGI flop like some recent Pixar films have been? However, analysts say Mattel may be onto something.
Mattel is really trying to redefine themselves as not just a toy brand anymore, but as someone who kind of plays into culture. Like, they've done really well selling to older generations, younger generations, but now that everything's kind of moved past that into like a digital world, how do you kind of reach people where they are, right? It's the things that they own, the things they experience, and that's what they're trying to start with Barbie. And they're trying to do that with all their different IP. Barbie has the advantage, the fact that it's been such a long-running brand, and people have played with like Hot Wheels, Uno. So, you know, I'm really excited to see how they kind of attempt out there. But they've done a really good job with starting with the movie here.
Okay, for our next story, imagine you're sitting on your couch scrolling through an online marketplace filled with excitement about finding that perfect handcrafted piece of art or unique craft. But amidst this thrill, there's a lingering fear. Scammers. That's why some platforms like Etsy have fraud protection programs to keep buyers safe. Etsy's terms of service have a clause called reserves, which essentially holds a portion of the seller's earnings to safeguard buyers. This protects customers from getting scammed by fly-by-night shops that vanish into thin air after taking orders. A reserve ensures that if anything goes wrong, Etsy can quickly refund the money. But while buyers revel in the safety net, there's a dark side to these policies for sellers.
I'm officially a victim of Etsy.
Etsy did this to my account as well. My account was put on a reserve for 4 months, and just last month it got off reserve. And their reasoning for the reserve in the first place was because I don't have tracking on my orders. But if you're a buyer from Etsy, just know that sellers do take a lot of hit when it comes to cost. There's a lot of transaction fees, there's listing fees, there's so many fees for everything that Etsy will put on there, 6%, and it's just, it accumulates a lot.
So, long-standing sellers who have earned their reputation and customer trust are also finding themselves tangled in this reserve web. Their hard-earned money sits in reserves, leaving them struggling to cover their business expenses and personal bills. Now, to put things into perspective, here's a little math for you. Imagine being one of the sellers and you just sold an item for $150. You should be elated, right? But wait, a whopping 75% of that is locked away in the payment reserve for weeks, up to 45 days. And after Etsy deducts all the fees and taxes from the remaining 25%, you're left with a mere $13 in your account.
All right, cool. $50 million, no problem.
I want 20 million in 50.
20 million in 50.
20 million in 20.
20 million in 20s.
And 10 million in 10.
And 10 million in 10s. You want any fives with that?
This challenging situation is a hard blow to indie artisans who have found solace and a sense of community on Etsy. Over time, they have witnessed the landscape change, with Etsy relaxing rules around handmade definitions, increasing fees, and demanding additional services like tracked shipping and constant customer support. But despite everything, small business owners remain divided whether they should leave Etsy or not.
Unpopular opinion, but I'm not against Etsy fees. If you want to sell your products anywhere, you're gonna have to pay some sort of rent, whether that's a brick and mortar store, pop-up stall, or online shop. In Etsy's case, you're paying for a beginner-friendly platform, convenience, and their built-in audience. I wasn't very active on social media in 2022 and still continue to make sales because of how much traffic they bring in for me. For everyone who's saying they're losing money on Etsy sales, you're not pricing your products high enough. I lost $20,000 in Etsy fees last year. I always knew they took a huge percentage of my sales, and I was okay with it because they do bring in a lot of traffic for me, but seeing how much it added up for me sparked a need for change. This year, one of my biggest goals will be to branch off and open my own online shop independent of Etsy. As of right now, I still want to keep my Etsy open for people who happen to find me through them. But once the website's open, I'll only be advertising my own shop so that I'm not driving traffic to Etsy, where they take a huge chunk of what I make. I do think Etsy was good for me when I started, but I'm ready to move on.
We've carried reports on this program on how China's economy is impacting on job prospects for graduates and how many young people have taken on second, menial jobs or even stay at home to work as full-time children. Well, the cost of living crisis can be seen in other ways, notably in this new trend, RV living. RVs, camper vans, mobile homes certainly provide a cheaper, if rather cramped, living space, and commutes to work are clearly easier, particularly if you stay in the office car park. This is Twiggy. Her accommodation expenses have dropped from $350 a month to around $150, including parking. Many happy campers like Twiggy enjoy the simple living, though a nearby public convenience is a must.
This is the sofa where I lie down and watch TV. This is my bed. This can be lifted up so I can sleep here. This is the wardrobe. This whole area is a kitchen where I can cook. Slide the door closed and there won't be any cooking smell. This is the toilet where I take a shower every night. That's it. And there's a washing machine here where I do my laundry. Aircon is needed every day.
No matter the size or sophistication of an RV, while researching for this story, I saw these pictures that continue to haunt me still. It's the one thing that you can't really escape from unless you're in a solid brick and mortar house, and that's the rain. Ugh. And that's our show. Find our latest shows on YouTube and do subscribe to our channel. See you soon.